Celebrating 25 years of joy. Good evening to you. Welcome to Business Live. My name is Aboagye-Wiafe. Bringing to you stories making headlines in the course of the day. And in our headlines, Africa's biggest paid TV platform, DSTV, reviews programming to stand test of time as coronavirus leads to suspension of sporting activities. Also coming up, Africa Union subsidiary African Risk Capacity to launch the Outbreaks and Epidemics Parametric product this year as part of the AU's overall response to outbreaks and epidemics. Plus, minority in Parliament kicks against introduction of a new levy known as the cylinder recirculation margin on the LPG price build-up. We're bringing to you all these stories and others in this edition of Business Live. Don't go away. Hello again, welcome back to Business Live. The Municipal Chief Executive of Keta, JoyNews, says 7 companies are currently bidding for construction of the Keta port. According to him, 1 company will be selected by the end of July this year to commence the port project, which is expected to boost the local economy of the Volta region. Fred, who visited the site and has come through with this report.
The national flag and the flag of the Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority, flying at half-mast, torn into shreds by the harsh weather conditions. This is the proposed site for the Keta port, built to commence in August this year, according to reports. The Municipal Chief Executive of Keta Municipality, JoyNews, has revealed to Joy Business 7 companies have been selected out of 17 others who submitted their proposals. Currently, there is a board of directors appointed to spearhead the project. According to the MCE, feasibility studies is currently ongoing and work will commence in earnest as soon as the President casts the sword in July.
Now, after the President has given the executive instrument declaring Keta as a port zone, we have continuously sensitized and encouraged the people of Keta. The port is coming to being. And for now, procurement processes are ongoing. So far, I would say about 17 companies have applied to do the construction, and out of that, about 7 have been selected. And then feasibility studies are going on. Out of the 7, by July, they have to present their reports, and out of that, 1 will be selected.
Meanwhile, some local folks who live in the designated area shared their doubts.
In
my candid opinion, I do not see this working just like the Ghana card initiated some time past, which never materialized. Things don't seem to be working in this country. I can't bank my hope in this project until I see the construction begin with my own eyes. I do not believe those signposts.
This port is completed, it's going to turn around the economic fortunes of this place, because if you look at the living standard of this place and what this harbor promises to do, it's a good project, but the only problem is the politics surrounding it. We think if the leaders are honest, they are able to come up with timelines and they set their minds to do it, they can do it.
Keta is bound by the sea and the lagoon. The main occupation of the people are fishing, vegetable farming, and trading. A port in this locality will go a long way to boost the local economy and impact positively on
Now, the spread of COVID-19 has already caused severe and unprecedented impact on the global economy. The projected global recession resulting from the coronavirus outbreak will certainly have a knock-on effect on African economies and further reduce food security in the region. Now, the level of economic effect cannot be compared with the West African Ebola outbreak in 2014. However, there are some lessons that can be drawn from such severe pandemics. African Risk Capacity ARC is planning to launch the ARC Outbreaks and Epidemics Parametric product in 2020 as part of the AU's overall response to outbreaks and epidemics. Lead advisor, Outbreak and Epidemic at African Risk Capacity, Robert Kwame de Graft Ejakun, joins me via Skype from his base in South Africa for a conversation on how the ARC can advise African economies to rise up after coronavirus is gone. Good evening, sir. Welcome to Business Live.
Thank you, and then thank you to your viewers. It is a pleasure to share our experience with you.
Now, as a lead advisor of outbreaks and epidemics of the Africa Risk Capacity, could you tell us, in your view, how the coronavirus pandemic is affecting or has affected economies of Africa?
I was listening to the segment earlier to this and the numbers. I think currently we are looking over 1 million confirmed cases and about 45 thereabouts thousand deaths. And I think Ghana has gone over 200 confirmed cases and some deaths. When you look at the projections that has been made by the World Bank, by the IMF, by the Economic Commission of Africa, our own Ministries of Finances, there is clearly going to be impact negatively on the economies of countries. I think there's a projection of about 3 to 8 percentage points, a GDP cut, which McKinsey recently put out to estimate around 90 billion for a best case scenario and upwards to 200 billion for a worst case scenario for 2020. The economic impact you can look at from 3 angles. I think first you look at the country level. The restrictions on population movement clearly means that people can move around. So individuals and livelihoods, small, medium scale, large scale businesses are going to suffer. Farmers and fisher folk. You can then also look at the country level, and here the closure of borders means that the inter-country trade, the intra-country, and as well as the African continental trade that we were hoping to boost will suffer. And this aggregates to negatively affect the economy. I think I had the Minister of Finance tabling concerns in Parliament around this for a stimulus package for Ghana. Then you go to the global. At the global level here, you were looking at fall in commodity prices, especially oil, and Ghana being an oil-producing country, as well as the other extractives. So clearly, from the individual household livelihood level to the continental scale, and then the global impact that we are all going to face. Thank you.
All right. No, so based on these dynamics, how would you recommend that our governments respond to the pandemic?
I think there are 2 things that we need to do. Well, there are a lot of things, yes, but you can bucket them into 2 broad areas. One, there's a public health response, and then the second is the economic recovery package or response. And they must be done, I would say, in tandem simultaneously. The public health response, basically here we are looking, the objective is to save lives and ensure good health for the population at large. So here are some of the things that needs to be done, must gear to stop the spread of the virus, and then use the opportunity to build lasting systems that can be activated for future outbreaks and epidemics. I mean, I will speak about setting up a national and regional response teams, which will then look at the different pillars of the public health response, including treatment, case management, isolation, provision of health services, and just making sure that we cut the curve or flatten the curve, as the terminology is now. On the economic side as well, I think we must ensure that there is food security and basic services are provided to the most vulnerable and the rest of the economy, and maybe focus more on economic recovery. And I spoke earlier of small businesses, livelihoods, provision of loans, and a stimulus package. I think African ministers of finance have tabled a call for about 100 billion stimulus package to the continent, of which about 44 billion will be to defray debts. So these are all things that needs to be done from the public health and economic level to make sure that we weather the storm.
Now, ARC offers insurance to countries for disasters. Now, tell us how the ARC insurance products can help countries in times like this, and how can countries sign up to this?
Right. So the African Risk Capacity, as you said earlier, is a specialized agency of the African Union. We're set up in 2012 to provide disaster risk finance and management. We have a drought product that has paid out about 60 million to support a number of our countries, and we underwrite insurance in the area of about 600 million. We have since 2016 been producing an outbreaks and epidemics product with the support of Africa CDC, WHO, and other partners, funded by the Rockefeller Foundation and the Swiss Development Corporation. The product seeks to provide countries with early intervention financing. So we work with countries to model and understand the risk that they face, cost these risks, and then an insurance is provided to underwrite this. And the main objective is that as soon as you have a disaster, this will come in to help you. It was going to look at, it will be launched for cover starting 2021. It was covering Ebola, meningitis, Lassa fever, and Marburg. But given what is happening now, we are modeling to include coronaviruses. And the main aim here is to provide protective cover to countries very early and in an outbreak, so that a country would not have to rely on external donor support and reactionary, but more a proactive response.
How do countries get to sign up?
So we were going to present this to ministers of finance at a meeting that was planned in Accra, I think late last month, but it got called off or postponed because of the COVID-19. So countries can write to the African countries, just have to show their interest in this, and we will start the work with them in assessing their risks and working around this. I mean, just reaching out to the African Risk Capacity, and then we will put our numbers out so that they will be able to contact us. It is a sovereign insurance, so here we work with governments, and the ministries of health and ministries of finance will be the main entry points to engage here. So the African Union, as we said, will be are behind us in making sure that the continent is provided this security for health emergencies.
Many thanks for your time. Robert de Graaf Kwame Jackson is the lead advisor, outbreak and epidemic at the African Risk Capacity. He joined us via Skype from his base in Johannesburg, South Africa. Away from that, businesses the world over are struggling due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Africa's biggest paid TV platform, DSTV, is not an exemption. With sporting activities suspended, the company, whose survival largely depends on viewership of sports tournaments, is definitely affected. Sandra Esinamapenu was at MultiChoice Ghana to find out the fate of the company. Here's more in this report.
Basically, the world has come to a standstill. Why? Because of the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of businesses are crawling now. And for people who love the games, sports has been badly affected by the outbreak of the COVID-19. And I had MultiChoice Ghana to find out how they are impacted by the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, and also what measures they are putting in place to ensure the safety of both their staff and customers.
As we know, we're just monitoring the situation, and if it gets worse, we might have to have some of our staff work from home.
But you having to deal with customers, because I still see people coming in here. Coming in, I saw that my temperature was taken anyway, but what other measures are you putting in place to ensure that we contain the spread of the virus?
So, for example, back at our home base in South Africa, they've had a lot more incidents than we've experienced here, and for that reason, we are taking learnings from all the 50 countries we operate in, and we are applying that in here. So, for example, we've given all our front customer-facing staff nose masks and gloves. We've given them adequate training. We've also we're getting them to work at a distance from our customers. We are also asking customers to use our mobile money and online payment options. We've also created a platform where customers can send an SMS to 1731 and whatever your request is. So, for example, if you live in Kaswa and you want an installation or you want a new decoder, you send installation and your number and your location. Somebody will call you and tell you, okay, there is a dealer in this neighborhood. So now we check at your temperature before you come in.
Now, the Kumasi-based Angel Group of companies has announced an 800,000 Ghana cedi support for selected health and other institutions in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. The package includes 1,000 bags of rice as well as 200,000 units of 100 milligrams of hand sanitizers and protective gears. Ohimin Tewi has more in this report.
Produced by Adonko Bitters Limited, the original Adonko hand sanitizer is the latest addition to the group's range of products. Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research, Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, Kumasi South, Suntreso and Mampontin government hospitals are some of the beneficiaries. Some orphanages and health porters would also receive some of the items free of charge. Samuel Kofi Champon is Chief Executive Officer of Angel Broadcasting Network. He says the company is motivated by the President's call for local collaboration to join the fight against COVID-19.
The president and founder of Angel Group, which is Dr. Kwaku Oteng, he's donating 800,000 Ghana cedis worth of goods, sanitizers, gloves, to orphanages, to hospitals, and also to widows. Now, the president of Ghana has proposed a lockdown for 2 weeks. So if so need be that it extends, these kayayos, these orphanages, how are they going to get food to eat? Hence the reason why he wants to get to their doorsteps and make sure he gives them food. This is like a social responsibility. You know, we are already in business, and this, you know, this COVID-19 that is hovering around our head is something that alcohol or sanitizer is the best thing that could be used to curb it. Hence the reason why Dr. Kwaku Oteng has given 20,000 bottles of Adonko hand sanitizers to be distributed free of charge. We are using about 70% of alcohol to make sure we derive this hand sanitizer and a lot more other good raw materials that is used in the acquisition of this hand sanitizers. All in all, this hand sanitizer is to help in curbing COVID-19 or coronavirus that is hanging around us here in Ghana and also in the world.
From Kumasi for Joy News, Ohimin Tewia reporting.
Now, the minority in Parliament has kicked against the introduction of a new levy known as the cylinder recirculation margin on the LPG price built up by the National Petroleum Authority. The downstream regulator last Wednesday directed industry marketers to start charging 13.5 pesos on each kilogram of LPG effective April 1. But speaking to parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku Gakpo, minority spokesperson on energy Adams Mutawakilu described the action as insensitive, especially at a time when Ghanaians are bearing the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Gas. And this government yesterday imposed 13.5 Ghana pesos per every kilogram of LPG in this country. As if they are not satisfied, they went ahead and revised fuel, what we call the fuel markup, margin, increase it by 50% from 3 Ghana pesos per liter to 4.5 Ghana pesos per liter. This is so clear that this government is pretending to love the people of Ghana, but actually they don't have us at heart.
So for you, these margins will negatively impact people, you would say? Some say they are virtually minimal.
You are not talking of, we are talking per liter, and we are talking per kilogram. We are not talking in terms of one volume being this. We are talking the more, if you consume 2 kilograms, you are paying 27 pesos. If you go in for 5.
And that'll be it for Business Live this evening. Many thanks for your company. My name is Aboagye-Wiafe. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Have a great weekend.